District program meeting. Maybe we'll get started. Yay! Let's get started with the four-way test. So if you want to unmute or not mute, that's up to you, but let's go ahead. Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial
to all concerned?
So here's the agenda for today. We've been called to order and did the four-way test. We're going to have a 15-minute section where we're going to do a few tech tips, status update on how clubs are communicating, best practices on serving the community. And if we don't have anything to say, we don't have anything to say, and we'll go into our program, which today is the Rotary Youth Exchange, which will last approximately 30 minutes. So here are the tech tips. I want to go over mute, unmute. So once I get through this, I will come on so you can see me and I can see the screen so I can talk you through the little toggle switches. The participants list, how to get to that, how to raise your hand. I would ask that you do please hold your questions to the end of the presentation and that you raise your hand and Nicole will call on you. And then there's a little feature called a chat box where you can chat with the entire group or with a specific participant. And then gallery view. So, there we go. So, mute and unmute. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you might have to pull your cursor over your screen. The bottom left-hand side is a microphone. It says mute or unmute. You can click on that. If you have your photo up, you can go up and mute on that. And if you put your cursor on your photo, there's an unmute button there. So Nicole I'm going to ask her to go ahead and after you speak, if you've raised your hand and been called on, just to go ahead and mute everybody because that background noise is so irritating. Some people are much more sensitive to that than others. So do remember to try to unmute when you're called on and then mute, remute, unmute and remute afterwards, but I'm going to ask Nicole to help us with that. So participants list, if you go down to the big screen view and look at the bottom in the center, there's a place that says participants. If you click on that, it'll pull up a box that shows all the participants and you can scroll up and down on that. You can see who's got video going, who's got their microphone muted or unmuted. And that is also where you find the raise hand. So down at the bottom, again, there's a place where you can mute and unmute and a place where you can raise your hand. And do try to remember to lower your hand after you've been called on. And then the second thing is chat box. So again, in that center panel at the bottom of your screen is a chat. If you click on that, you'll get your chat box up, and on mine, it's over on the right-hand side. I believe you can tear those off and move them depending on how your setup is run. The blue box too down there, you can send chat to a specific person, just click on them, or everyone. So pay attention to that if you're gonna type in some chat. We'll try to pay attention, but again, we're newbies, so have a little patience with us. And then the last thing I want to mention on tech view or tech tips is gallery view. So on mine, if you go up to the top of your screen and to the right, there's a thing that's called gallery view or speaker view. I'm on an Apple, so my gallery view is just a grid, a 9-box grid. So you can, that's a toggle thing. You can toggle that to see how it works best for you. And then then there was a really, really good tech tip from Chuck, who recommended that we change our name to full name and then the club we're from. And Chuck, did you want to tell how to do that? I finally found it and now I've lost it. Or Greg, I'm sorry, Greg.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for whoever Chuck was.
Yeah.
If you're looking at the grid view, you simply find yourself, and when you click on the little 3 buttons in the upper right hand corner of your grid view, you'll see a spot. If you go to there's multiple places to do it. If you go to the participant list and find yourself, you can change it from there. Go to the participant list and find yourself, and when you hover, one of the things says rename, and you can just type in your full name and club number right there. So I see people doing that right now. I find it very helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. That's a great tech tip. Does anyone have a quick tech tip to share? Okay, so
Could we have that repeated?
Sorry?
We have that repeated. I'm on my iPad and it's totally different from my computer. And so I'm up is down and down is up and left is right.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom, I have to go get my iPad to look, but if you look down at the menu at the bottom, there's one of the choices is
that's my problem. I don't have a menu at the bottom.
One of the choices that you will see somewhere on your iPad says participants. When you see that, click on that. You'll see a full list of everybody that's on the call. When you find yourself, just hover over it. And one of the choices is rename. I'll go grab an iPad and see if I can remember, because I just frankly don't remember where it's at.
Larry,
somebody's
this is Casey.
maybe they can pop in.
Hey, Larry, this is Casey. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I have an iPhone, but if you just tap the screen on your iPad, it's probably the same. And then at the bottom, that menu will show up and it'll say participants.
Actually, mine shows up at the top.
Okay. If you just tap the screen and then touch participants and go into the participants, then you can, if you click yourself, it'll give you a menu there and you can change it.
Got it. I got it. I got it.
Okay, so for those on the phone, if someone can help me, mute and unmute, I think is *6. Toggle that. Does anyone know for sure?
That's correct.
That's correct. And then *9 is raise hand, unraise hand.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, so club status, does anybody have any information to share with the greater group on how you're staying in contact with your Rotary Club and how it's working? And are there any innovative ideas out there on how to do it? Remember to unmute. How about best practices in serving your community during this? Are there any COVID-19 projects that people have gotten started?
Mary, you have your hand up.
Yeah, that was just for the previous question. We are actually meeting as well via Zoom. We've had 2 club meetings now via Zoom, and they've gone fairly well. We had our first presenter join us as well yesterday for our meeting. So
this is Lauren, and we too at Sioux Falls West have had we had our first Zoom meeting last Friday, and I believe we had 15 on the call. Our president facilitated it very nicely, and it was well received. One of our members is in Arizona, and he was appreciative of being able to be a part of the group and stay connected. And it really worked well. I would encourage as many of our clubs as possible to participate. And Nicole or Ina, you could probably tell the group about the rules. I mean, the smaller clubs, they could have their own free Zoom account up to, you're limited to 40 minutes, and I don't know how many participants. Can you fill us in on that, Nicole?
Ina, do you want to talk on that behalf?
Sure, I can. So the district has offered to pay for the first year Zoom subscription for your club, and AGs are also included in that, assistant governors. So that's about $120 for a year subscription. I don't know what it started at, but for a year subscription, they took down the monthly to 30%, and then with your Rotary rewards discount, another 20% comes off. So it's about $120 per year for an annual subscription. And that's the pro level. And that is 100 people online on the meeting. And I think your meeting can go on for quite a bit of time. There's not a time limit. Now the free version is a 40-minute limit, and they're real strict on that. And what I've been told is that you may not be able to get phone contact with people. So people won't be able to dial into that, which, there's a fairness issue. Someone doesn't have a computer, but they want to phone in and listen in on your meeting. So this offer to the clubs and the AGs expires June 30th because we're taking it out of this year's budget. So if you want to just do for a few months and sign up for a monthly Zoom, we'll pay for the 3 months or 2 months or 1 month, however long you want to be on it till June 30th. If you sign up for the annual, we will subsidize up to 120, which is the full basic pro. You can add on to pro to 500 or 1,000 participants. It costs extra, and we won't support that, but we will support the basic one. And I think that one will will handle most club meetings.
Jen from Sioux Falls South, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to add off of what Mary Devaney was saying about Sioux Falls South, and we with our presenter yesterday, it was the helpline, and so we actually got a couple of ideas on how to possibly support local Feeding South Dakota and Food to You, and so kind of applied with what's happening right now and how to support our community.
Okay. Great. Any other great ideas out there, or not so great, just doing something? I mean, sometimes it's just, you don't have to really have a perfect plan. Just go and do something, do good.
Well, this is Lauren again. So at Sioux Falls West, why the need became apparent at our local Boys and Girls Club about daycare with people, be it medical workers or whomever, who need to go to work, or other folks who need to go to work and still need daycare, but daycare, several of the I don't know what percentage, but many of the daycare providers are closing. But Boys and Girls Club is striving to stay open, or is committed to staying open. But having to deal with the dire need for scholarships for people to help with this cost. And those that are laid off from work, why, and they've had their kids at Boys and Girls Club, there's a fee in order to keep their place in the queue. Otherwise, they would drop out and end up on, when this is over, why they end up on a waiting list. So it's really a catch-22 in many ways. But anyway, the club has decided to support Boys and Girls Club to some extent financially. As we talked about last week's meeting with Rotary, you can't do anything together in light of the social distancing. So financial is probably the one of the most needed ways.
Great. Well, that sounds like a good one. We're going to move on to our program now, and I would invite you to go ahead and share ideas in the chat function so you can type in your ideas while the program's rolling. And let's get started. I'm going to try and stop sharing and turn it over to Patrick.
Yes, thanks, Ina. So my name is Patrick Morrison. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the interim district chair for Rotary Youth Exchange. I've been in this role for 2 years now. And then before that, I was outbound coordinator. So some obviously interesting times for Youth Exchange right now. My day job, I work at the University of South Dakota International Office. So that's been interesting too with, all the fun COVID-19 things. So keeping busy there. But so just kind of want to give a general update about the program. Only a couple minutes because I think we're really want to hear from our two inbound students. I think they're going to have more interesting things to say than I will. So first off, about 2.5 years ago, our district went from Scry, a multi-district that was basically Dakotas all the way down to Texas and out to like Idaho and all that big multi-district, to we're now with Central States, which is basically the Dakotas out to Indiana, and then like parts of Canada as well. So kind of that whole upper Midwest region. It's been, I think, a good transition. There are two things I think are really user-friendly. One is a digital system that once you understand it, it's pretty straightforward. All the trainings and that sort of thing are all available digitally. A lot of the forms and reporting are all done online. So there's not as many paper forms, which is nice when you're onboarding host families and things like that. Rather than doing a form and scanning it and sending it somewhere, you could easily just do a fillable form on your phone or whatever. Background checks, all those sorts of things are all done right through this online platform. So that's been really helpful. The second thing is the way inbounds and outbounds are placed. Rather than our district really managing that, it's done by Central States through what are called correspondents. So they also do a lot of the paperwork of getting students placed and getting our students placed overseas as well. So that's been, from my perspective, very helpful. And so we have really been able to run it on at the district level, basically myself and Cindy Bailey out in Rapid. And then of course have a great team in Sioux Falls that are working with our two inbounds right now, who you'll meet in a moment. And then our outbound students for this upcoming year, both from Sioux Falls as well. So they've been doing a great job. Definitely we would not be where we are now without them. So I want to give them a shout out for that too. So let's see. So for next year, for this year, we have two inbounds. So Owen and Jesse, you'll meet them again in a moment. And then we don't have any outbounds. We had two, both sadly, we're not able to continue with the process. But for next year, we have two outbounds, both from Sioux Falls. I believe Jen can correct me, but I believe they're going to Peru and Colombia. Jen, is that correct?
Yeah, I believe, yep.
Yep. And then we have, as of now, we're scheduled to have 3 inbounds. So we already have one student, girl from Brazil, and then we'll have 2 additional that we're waiting on placements. Obviously, we're in kind of an uncertain time, so we'll see. But right now, we're planning on everything proceeding as normal with our 2 outbounds and 3 inbounds. So if you are from a club and interested, we have had a couple soft commitments from clubs, but we're still looking for certainly clubs to host. We're not limited to 3. So if we find that we have 4 or 5 clubs that really want to have a student, we can certainly go above that number. But yeah, so we're kind of committed to 3 right now. So please get in touch with me if you have even a remote interest in your club hosting. I can give you more information on that, just how the process would work and that sort of thing. Like I said, we only have 1 student placed with us now, so there's really not a super rush. But you can get a hold of me through email. It's probably easiest. It's patrick.morrison@usc.edu. You can certainly get in touch with Nicole or Ina or somebody like that as well to get my email. So that's pretty much what I have just on a general program update. Also, just be thinking about for outbounds for the 2021-2022 year. So basically the current 8th grade through 10th grade, I think, or 8th through 11, I guess. No, current like 8 through 10, I think, are basically the 3 target years in your communities. If you have any students that are interested, you can get them in touch with me as well, or parents or whatever, and we can look at, not for next year, but to go out the following year. So with that, let's see, Jesse, do you want to go first? I see we have a dog in your lap. Are you ready to go?
I think Awan will go first.
You do or don't want to go first? Awan, are you ready to go?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. We'll turn it over to Awan and then we'll go to Jesse. So.
All right. Okay, give me a second. Is it sharing?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Oh, wait, is it screen sharing?
Yes.
Ooh.
Well, it was screen sharing.
Okay, there you go. Hey everyone. Happy to be here staying inside, and I hope you're all doing well amongst the chaos that is happening right now. My name is Awan Chahayaditya. My friends call me Awan. I am a 17-year-old exchange student from Indonesia, specifically from Jakarta. I live with my dad, and I have 6 cats. And rumor has it, I now have 8. My dad works as a surveyor, which has something to do with geography. My mom sadly passed away when I was in 3rd grade due to breast cancer, but one of her wishes is for me to see as much of the world as possible, and thanks to Rotary, I'm able to do that. Before getting to know about me more, I'd like to talk a little bit more about Indonesia. So, Indonesia is one of the largest island nation in the world. It's also the 4th most populous country with 270 million people, and it has the 3rd most volcanoes in the world. So we deal with earthquake on a daily basis. And it is also home to some of the rarest animals and plants in the world, such as the Javan rhino, the Sumatran tiger, the tertiary, that big flower, I don't know how to pronounce it, the orangutan, Komodo dragon, and babirusa, which is basically pig deer. It's kind of weird, but it's really cool. And that really big flower, the stinky one, Rafflesia arnoldi. More about the culture, though. Indonesia has around 748 languages, but it's different in every province, and we're all united under one language. It's called Indonesian or Bahasa Indonesia, which basically means the language of Indonesia. So here's an example of an introduction. Hi, my name's Awan. I'm from Indonesia. How are you? That's how I typically do it. But in Indonesia, I would say, hi, nama saya Awan. Saya dari Indonesia. Apa kabar? So yeah, that's kind of different. We also have a lot of traditional dances. These are the 4 examples, tari saman, tari topeng, tari pendet, dan tari kecap. These are all from different provinces, and sadly, due to globalization, it's slowly fading away. But it's really cool that people still try to show it to the world, and we definitely respect that. more about the art of Indonesia, here's the two most common and most popular, which is batik. It's basically a textile art, like the one you see, the first one before I started the presentation. And the second one is wayang, which is basically a puppet to tell this story about legends back then in the Javanese province. Oh, this is definitely my favorite food. There's a lot of food in Indonesia. Every province has their own distinct taste. Some sweet, some salty, and some sour. My favorite one here is the Indonesian satay, which is basically chicken on a stick with a peanut peanut sauce. Which may sound weird, but it's really good. And I hope you guys don't have, peanut allergies. That would be dangerous. Okay, a little bit more about me, or the Asian on the left, as you can see. A quick intro is this, as I said earlier, I live in Jakarta, which is the capital. It is a busy, fast-paced metropolitan city that doesn't sleep. And on the right, you will see my dad wearing a farmer's hat and my dad holding a turtle. My dad is my greatest motivator, and he is the love of my life. He's silly, he's unique, and he raised me alone ever since my mom died. So he's a dad most of the time, and sometimes he can be a mom. I have loads of cousins since my dad is the fourth child of 9, and my mom is the youngest out of 17. So a family reunion would be quite unique. I don't know any of the names. I don't have any pictures of them, but sadly, yeah, on my phone. So moving on. This is my Indonesian school. It's a public school. It's the 34th high school in Jakarta. It's one of the top 5 public schools in the city, and it looks like this. At first, I didn't really want to go there and continue on in my old private school, but I honestly have no regrets now. And believe me when I say that I'm not smart. I am one of the lower rankings there, and every of my friends are geniuses. If you see in the bottom, those two are a glimpse of my transcript, and the left one would be my math score during a semester test, and the right one would be my chemistry score in the semester test. So yeah, top 5, quote unquote. Here are some of my friends. I am an adventurous person. I like trying out new things, and as of recently, I enjoy making friends. I haven't really been an outgoing person for a long time, but then something happened, and now I'm out and about again. So here are some pictures that I took with my friends. During my year here, I've had the chance to experience new stuff, like such as watch a football game, went to University of Minnesota, and during the football game, my first ever football game, I was wearing red, and the theme was white. So somewhere in the student section, someone said, "Who's the idiot wearing red?" So that was kind of funny, in my opinion. Went to Mount Rushmore, and I went to the hockey game for the first time ever. And suddenly, Cotton Eye Joe started playing, and there was a shirtless man dancing, which is, something American, something unique, definitely. And here I'm lucky to make friends with amazing human beings that I hope I would still be friends with long after I'm gone. Because of these people, even though I haven't gone to New York like Jesse did, or Chicago, everyone here has made an impact on my exchange year. So they are the people that keeps my boat afloat. Because without them, I'd honestly be home right now, probably. And to end my short presentation, here's a small glimpse of my bucket list. Number 1 was visit California, which sadly my big trip has been canceled. So it will be up there. Go to the Mall of America, ride a horse. shoot a big gun, because like I shot the gun for the first time, and it was really like stress relief, and I like that, but it's scary. Visit more nature wonders, go to an amusement park, experience 4th of July, fly around the city in a helicopter. I really want to do that, even though Sioux Falls is small, but it's something. Go to a pride parade, and then go to Chicago. And in the bottom, you would see a surprise me. What I mean by that is that I just want to experience something that's new, and I might not have think of while making this, because if you in the general public, Americans like, ooh, mall, ooh, fun, ooh, party. Yeah, but I want something, something more. Like, even if it's a new food, new stuff, and I really want that. So feel free to invite me to do some. I think that'll be all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Owan. Everybody want to maybe give a round of applause here for, there we go. All right, so now we'll move on to Jesse. Jesse, are you ready to go?
Yeah.
Okay, take it away.
Okay. So, good morning. And okay, so I'm 17. My name is Jessie Shen, and I'm from Taiwan. And yeah, and I go to Lincoln too. I'm a junior in Lincoln, like I won. Okay, so this is my family and me, and awkward. So my mom, her name is Lisa. She's 48, and I have 2 older brothers. One is James, and one is Louis. And that one's my dad with pink shirt. Yeah, and my dad, he's an architect, and he also sells tea boards. Tea boards, like you know how Chinese people, they drink tea. And architects, he's like man job, but he just like sells tea boards for fun. That's just what he likes to do. Yeah. And why did I choose to be an exchange student? It's because like so my 2 older brothers, they were both exchange students. So my big brother James, he went to Brazil, and my second older brother, he went to Mexico. So yeah, and then like after they came back, my dad just asked me if I want to do this too. I'm like, yeah, because I want to like get away from the house. I don't want to stay in Taiwan. It's just stressful. So yeah. This is my friends in my school. These are my best friends. So this is my school. Sorry about the quality of the picture. It's worse. And my main subject is media design, and there are 5 floors, and each floor has like different classes and yeah, different majors. You can go on next page. Oh. This is me and my friends. They were like celebrating my birthday, but it wasn't my birthday. They want to celebrate it like earlier. They just want me to buy them cakes. Yeah. What are we doing? Okay. Okay, about Taiwan. So this picture that you're looking at it, that is our capital. That's Taipei, which is like 4 hours away from my city. Okay, where's Taiwan? That is Taiwan, the red spot. I mean, yeah. Wait, what the heck? Look at the pictures. Okay, that is a map of Taiwan, and our capital city is Taipei, which is at the top. And our language is Mandarin Chinese and Taiwanese. They're 2 different languages. And population is around 23 million. Speak Chinese, but like not the same kind as China. There's like a little difference. Yeah, people in Taiwan, a lot of them only speak Taiwanese, like they don't know how to speak Chinese. And I can speak both. Usually people are like over 85 or something, like they can only speak Taiwanese. They don't know how to speak Chinese. Yeah. Okay. This is Taiwan, and it's really small. You can see the white pin, that's the capital, that's Taipei. And then there's a white flag down there, that is like the end of Taiwan. And it only takes 5 hours to get to the end of Taiwan from the top. And there are several different ways to like travel around Taiwan, and they're also like cheap. And we have all kind of transportation like MRT, tram, bus, Uber, high-speed railway, coach bus, city bikes, taxi, and sightseeing bus. In every single city, they usually have their own citizen cards, and it's for you to pay, like when you take bus or you borrow the city bikes, or like when you go to like convenience stores, you can also pay by it, or when you like go take train or something. And for students, like you usually have a student ID card, and you can use the ID card just like as the citizen card, but you gotta like save money in it. Yeah. And so the transportation, this is the MRT, but the MRT is only in Taipei, because like Taipei has the highest population, and people usually take the MRT to go to work. That is high-speed rail. It's the second most common transportation that people always like to take. It's fast and it's convenient. And usually children below 3.8 feet or less than 6 years old can enjoy the free rides, and children less than 12 years old can enjoy half-price rides. Okay, that is the train. The train is like the most convenient transportation to travel around the whole Taiwan because it's cheap, and it goes to like every single city, like every single part of the cities, like yeah, anyway, the whole Taiwan. And coach bus only goes on highway, and it does not go around like inside the cities. And the price is actually a little bit higher than the train. Yeah. So this is my hometown, Tainan. Tainan is the oldest city of Taiwan. It is the cultural place of origin. And Tainan used to be the main city since December 8th, 1949. Taipei has been the capital of Taiwan. And Tainan is famous for historical buildings, and we invented bubble tea or boba tea. I'll explain it if you've never heard of it, but it's really famous. So look at that museum, isn't it fancy? It's famous because it kind of looks like the White House. Also, there's a huge park by it, so people also go there for picnicking as well. And that is a department store built in 1932. It is still there. The government kind of like fixed it, so it looks like this right now. It just didn't look like this. And it looks really beautiful at night because they will like turn out all the lights. Yes. And this is the third most famous historical building in Tainan. It's the first school of Taiwan. But it's no longer a school anymore, but you can still like go inside and visit it. There's a temple in it. And usually like all the historical buildings, as long as you're like locals, you just have to show them your citizen card, and then they will just like let you go in there free. And traditional food, my favorite part, that is oyster omelette. Is made with eggs, oysters, lettuce, and bean sprouts. And that is tofu pudding. It's just amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. And that is rice and pork. It's just rice and pork and maybe eggs, I guess. And that's stinky tofu. I don't think anyone here will like it, but I love it. Cause it's like, it smells really bad, but it tastes really good. Not that funny. Okay, so that's bubble tea, boba tea. That's the most important thing in this PowerPoint. So boba spears are made of, how to read that?
Tapioca.
Tapioca starch that comes from the cassava roots. It's just delicious. It was invented by people that live in Tainan, so we're famous for that too. And beef noodles. It's just beef board, vegetables, and Chinese noodles. Amazing. Don't need to explain it. That's all. Thanks for listening. How do I mute myself?
I'll do a round of applause there for Jesse. Good job. So Ina, I think that's kind of our presentation. If there's questions, I'll turn it over to you and to handle, process those, and Nicole, if you would like.
Thank you, Arwan and Jesse. That was awesome. Really appreciate you doing this. And you guys are, pros. You did really, really well. I would ask that, Jesse, would you unshare so we can get back to the regular screen? And then if you have questions, go ahead and raise your hand and Nicole will call on you. So I have a question. What is your future? How long are you staying here? And I think you probably will go directly home. There won't be any tours. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I think so. Well, I'm not sure, like, if you're talking about my future, if you means about my college, well, I'm not sure if I will, like, come back or not. I want to, but I just not sure yet. I gotta talk to my dad about it. Yeah.
Well, for me is after this, I have to finish another year of high school. We don't have trips, so we might just go back home right away, and then I have another year of high school. But then I probably want to come back next summer, cause like I miss this feeling in South Dakota. Being in a big city and now in a pretty small town of Harrisburg, it is interesting. But for the future, I probably want to go to college in Germany, majoring somewhere in the engineering line. So yeah.
Jen from Sioux Falls South.
Can you guys share like what's been the hardest part about the youth exchange, or what's been the most different from what you're used to?
It's okay. For me, most difficult part, I think, is like school, I guess, because it just, when I first got here, I can't, like, I'm outgoing, but I can't really talk to people that easily because I'm shy, and I'm just kind of like scared of my English not like good enough to talk to people, like, and like the Taiwanese school and American school just have like really big difference. Basically everything's different, because like in Taiwan you just have the same class. We have 3 years of high school instead of 4, and in Taiwan, like, you just have the same classmates. Like, it will never change. You just have the same classmates for like three years, and we don't go around the classrooms. We just stay in the classroom for a year, and then when you're like sophomore or junior, you just change to another classroom. And usually the professors are the one like who's just going around. Yeah. And the easiest part, I guess, is the way I like how do I say it? The way I talk to my host family or stuff, because like I just feel like really comfortable when I'm like with them, and it's just never been a problem for me to talk to my host family or like host siblings. Yeah, that's for me.
The hardest for me was probably the beginning, because people here, people in the US, and actually just people in the whole world in general, we all have the group that we're comfortable with, and we don't like adding in new people. But then I was lucky enough in the beginning at homecoming, I met a couple of people, which I really now is the best people in my life. So yeah, I would say making new friends in the beginning will be hard, but if you're comfortable with them and they're comfortable with you, I think that'll be really helpful. And then the easy part, I don't know, everything's kind of easy here, so yeah.
Well, thank you both for sharing what it's like to be a student here, and for a glimpse into your lives. We learn a lot from you folks, and we really do appreciate you sharing. So we are ready to leave the meeting, and I see if I can get this up and running again. Adjourned. Thank you so much for coming. Next week, we'll have Tom Dunn from Minnesota speaking about starting new clubs.
Thank you. See you guys.
Thank you.